what are some of the stuff you did, like blood pageant? Is there more of that or not?
Oh yeah, no, definitely. I did.
What do you remember?
So
It's so great. It's just like a therapy.
I did
It's like
another
a bad movie.
I did another movie that I was like helping with too, because I really thought it was going to be cool. I was
Right.
like, I actually believed in it.
Yeah.
You know,
That's okay.
those are the killer ones where you're like, I got something special. And then you're like, wow, I don't got something
my
special.
brother Alec gave me a great anecdote once. He's like, yeah, well, you sign up for some pictures in the indie world. And, they say, oh, yeah, man, we're going to the Bahamas.
Yeah.
You get on this barge. You thought there was going to be like a yacht, but you get on this barge. It starts heading towards Staten Island. You know what I mean? Hey, guys, if they were going to the Bahamas, hey, we had a rewrite. You know what I mean?
Well, this was actually like a true horror movie. We did a movie called, I think it was originally called Pennhurst, and it was at an old abandoned insane asylum called Pennhurst.
Creepy.
In Pennsylvania. And it was, Michael Rooker was in it, and he was directing. He took it upon himself to do a lot of rewrites.
Rooker.
Yeah.
I love
So a lot of the basis of what we were supposed to be doing all of a sudden didn't quite make sense, but we just like kind of went along with it.
He's Michael Rooker.
Because basically, I think, to be honest, he just didn't want to memorize the monologues, so he just kind of cut them. And so there was a lot of things that like all of a sudden just like didn't really make sense. Yeah, just we did a lot of cutting.
Yeah.
But basically we were running around this insane asylum and we were shooting it. But what's crazy is also like, if it's a horror movie, you got to kind of shoot it at night. But we were shooting it during the day. Didn't make all that much sense. But it was crazy though, because literally like we were all at the cast hotel, which was overlooking a cemetery right next to the insane asylum. And
all of it was that in that close proximity.
Yes.
Okay.
And it was one of those things where like I didn't really believe in ghosts and spirits until I had a situation on set where I was like, there's something here.
You had a supernatural experience?
Yeah, we had because the location itself was just stunning.
Creepy.
No, it was stunning. The architecture was just amazing, but to
of
see
the
it,
insane asylum?
it was beautiful.
Now you see how the spirits lured you early with the architecture?
It was beautiful. But then so I would go exploring, and I was with this guy he was supposed to be security on the show. His name was Moose. He was a Canadian football player. And so he was supposed to walk with me just to make sure that I didn't get myself into trouble. And I was walking around taking pictures because I was also supposed to be helping produce. And so I was trying to do, the producer thing.
Double duty.
And so I was taking pictures and just getting these amazing shots. And we were kind of out in this clearing. And all of a sudden, we heard something rustle in the bushes. And we looked. And then all of a sudden, the bushes moved. And it sounded like we were about to get, like, taken out by some big-ass animals.
Wow.
Didn't know what it was. And, of course, what do? I freeze, and I'm just, like, stuck there. And then I look around, and, like, Moose just took off. Like, he left me there.
He ran?
He left. He left me. He, like,
the
left.
Bodyguard?
He left. He was gone. Like, took off. Like, wasn't even, like, I don't even think I saw him the rest of the day.
What happened?
Later on, what's funny is, like...
So something whooshed by you, and that was it?
No, not only did it whoosh by you, like, it came at me, and then you felt a bitter cold, and, like, you felt something. And it was, like, the strangest experience. And, of course, I'm still like, it could have been anything.
No, but the other dude ran, so it was something.
Yeah, it was definitely something.
Okay.
So I kind of then started to realize, like, I'm gonna show this place respect, and I'm going to make sure that, like, I would introduce myself when I would go into places. I'm like, hi, I'm Bev. I'm not here to harm you or do any such thing. I am, like, and I would literally, like...
Really?
Yes.
Oh, my God. That's awesome.
And what's funny is the film never really materialized to really anything. I don't even know if it made... Oh, God.
Nothing's happening, is it?
No,
in the room? You scared me.
But
What happened?
no,
did something just move?
Apparently it did.
Don't do that.
It did material.
What happened?
There's a trailer.
You just scared me.
Well, I didn't mean to scare you, but I.
Well, you just I'm an actor. You just went. So anyway, it was about. You just turned your head like kind of a scary.
Because John apparently found something. But I went back with the medium later on because I did Celebrity Ghost Stories, and they actually told me to go back. And I was like, oh.
And that show took you back to the same place.
Celebrity Ghost Stories took me back to Pennhurst, and I walked around with a medium.
And did they have Geiger counters and everything? All those spirit Geiger counters?
No, but what's funny is like she was able to recall things that like there's no way she would have known. And then she was also telling us, she told me which spirits were trying to warn me. And actually the whole time according to the medium, she was saying they all knew that I was a safe person, but they were trying to keep me away from the spirits in which weren't. And so that charge was basically, don't go any further. Like, you've gotten close enough. Pennhurst was a place of a lot of pain and a lot of really bad things that happened to very...
All of that stuff is historically...
innocent people.
Yeah.
And apparently also, she told me that I had a spirit that was there protecting me all the time. And she's like, she's young. She's like your age. And one of my best friends passed away when I was 16. Right. And apparently she was my angel that was kind of just being like, hey, she's off limits. Like, no go with her. You stay away from her. And funny enough, at the very end of this whole experience with the medium, as I'm walking away and the cameras are off and we're walking back to our cars, she says, I have a question for you, and I'm sorry if this is too personal. And I'm like, well, we just walked you've pretty much told me a lot of personal things so far, so nothing's going to be too personal. And she's like, are you pregnant? And I said, no. And she's like, are you sure? I'm like, yeah, I'm sure. And she's like, okay, you will be in like the next month or so. It's a little girl and she's been waiting for you. A month later, I was pregnant with Kenzie. Yeah.
So I guess at the end of this story, you could say that you could thank your seventh heaven. Right?
Yeah.
So
isn't that crazy? Pennhurst was not necessarily a great movie, but being able to do that Celebrity Ghost Stories and have
right.
that like life
weird, right?
experience was really cool.
That circle back you never could have expected.
Exactly. There's a lot of times where you're like, okay, like what am I going to learn from that?
So you're at this place now where you're Mama Bear being Beverly.
Yep.
Because you're creating your own piece. You're finding that.
Yep.
But you're also going to direct.
Yep.
Are you going to write too, or you want to focus maybe in this next tier or season of your career is directing? So hold on.
Yep.
So if you're Mama Bear at peace and, you're not going to waste time.
Yeah.
If I call you, in 6 months, I go, hey, man, I got 10 million. It's Saw 27. I want you to direct. You don't have the time because you'd rather do what you want to do, or no?
I think it all just depends. I think I'm definitely the person that wants to do things that make sense, that fulfill me. And I think at this point, I'm more critical of my time because it takes away from my kids.
Right.
So I'm absolutely like, if I'm going to not be with them, it has to be with people. Like, I have a no app. Like, I won't work with jerks anymore because honestly, it's just not fun.
Right. But my question more pointedly is, as a director in the future, you're open to be like a director work for hire. You work for other people if the circumstances are correct.
If the circumstances are correct. But I also
well as you want to develop your own stuff that you do that's your passion projects.
Absolutely. I think I want to, not only do I want to develop work on the projects that I'm passionate about, but it's also with the people I'm passionate about.
Cool.
So being able to kind of control that is a big thing for me because I want to get back to the way it was in the 90s. I want to get back to the way when we all worked and we had so much fun. Like, I remember working was like
I already told
camp.
you, I have an idea. It's like
camp.
the Honeymooners.
Yeah.
It's me and you,
okay.
and I'm a pastor.
Okay.
But like I'm Stephen Baldwin's version of a pastor.
Okay.
My God, help the world. But I have this kind of Ray Romano-y kind of, honeymooners thing.
Love it.
Where this guy just keeps stumbling on himself because he's just human.
Of course.
But in that honeymooners kind of really like, and there's these wonderful scenes where the wife's just going, Really? That's what you thought. It's that kind of a sitcom.
Love
dynamic.
that.
I'll tell you about it later. It's called The Afterlife.
I love
Get
it.
it?
I get it.
It's after he retires from being a pastor, and he's a pastor, so we want you to get to heaven. Me
I
and you
love
are going to star in that show in the future. I'm telling you right now.
I love it.
We're going to
I'm-
do
I'm-
it.
I'm
We're going to
totally
raise the money. You can direct. I don't care.
That's okay. We'll have a.
I'll be in my trailer.
And then we'll be.
Guilty pleasures misunderstood. It's so fast.